Hello everyone! Today we're embarking on a new fashioneering journey to make a fancy pirate hat. But the pirate ship topper is actually going to move like a ship on the ocean. Let's get started. For the hat base, I thrifted this sun hat and then attempted to dye it black. While it dried, I moved on to a prototype for the mechanism. Now, I love a cardboard prototype, so here is what I'm starting out with. It's just a wheel that I'm currently turning by hand, but eventually this would be motorized, so there'll be a little shaft here from the DC motor that will turn this mechanism, and then on top I just have a paper cutout of my little boat. I'll replace this with a cardboard boat that hopefully looks a lot fancier and nicer, but is still lightweight since it'll be made out of cardboard, and hopefully that will be lightweight enough for my motor to just be able to turn the entire mechanism with the boat on top of it all at once. So here's my sad little cardboard ship, but I'm gonna paint it, and then I think once I do that and add some sails and a mast, it's gonna look a lot better. At this point, I was working on a few overlapping steps. I hopped into Tinkercad to upgrade my paper prototype into a crankshaft that could support my ship. I 3D printed that and left space for the hull of my ship to slide in, and of course the whole thing had to be tall enough that it wouldn't hit the hat or the crankshaft mechanism below. I mounted that print inside the boat and finished off the boat structure with cardboard. Then I moved on to painting everything with a nice base coat of black acrylic paint, and then dry brushing some wooden plank details on top. I also cut out some fabric sails and finished the edges, and then it was time to move back onto the electronics. I have my DC motor, and this one has a gearbox to slow it down. So this one is 30 revolutions per minute when powered at 3 volts. And the reason I chose this motor, besides the speed, is because the shaft is perpendicular to the long side of the motor. So it's just going to sit a little bit flatter against my mechanism as opposed to a motor that has the shaft parallel to the longer side. I'm going to go solder some wired connections for this motor to a battery pack, and I'll be back in a minute so that we can see how fast it moves. Okay, so I have my ship, I have my motor attached, and we are gonna see how this works once I turn the battery pack on. Okay, so the movement isn't super dramatic, which might be beneficial for a hat just because it'll keep things a little more stable. I do feel like it could be a little more obvious, but it's so fun. I'm just gonna be proud of this for a minute. I took an off-camera detour to pin the 3 folds of the hat into a tricorn and add some embellishments, which also involved a brief lace-dyeing side quest, and then it was time for the moment of truth. The movement is not that noticeable or dramatic, which is kind of a shame, but this also feels like a reasonable trade-off between stability and drama, and isn't that what we all aspire to? I think it would be really fun to ombre dye some blue lace-like waves to hide the mechanism, so let me know if you make this project. Maybe you can do this, and I'll see you next time for more fashioneering.